Welcome back, and thanks for tuning into the Shine and Thrive Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Monica, and today I am choosing to entertain you instead of teaching because you know what? Like, life should not be taken so seriously all the time. And also, this one comes by popular request because I have it in my bio of my website where I literally share in my about section about me that I once got out of a speeding ticket by faking diarrhea in the bushes. And I know that a lot of you are always like, I want to hear the story. I want to hear the story. And I'm like, well, for me to tell it properly, I don't want to like type it out a million times. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well just share the story now. And before I do, you might be wondering why I even have that in my about me section on my website. It's because it's polarizing. And by polarizing, it means that some people will either love it or hate it. And that's exactly what I want because I purposely want to attract clients and couples that I want to work with that are, free spirited, adventurous, don't take themselves or life too seriously, love to laugh and love to hear funny stories. And maybe like they like a couple like poop jokes here and there, just like I do. So, yeah. So that's just like a little bit of encouragement for you to really, paint your personality on your about section on your website and do it fearlessly because I promise you, as soon as you really just like open up and share those things about you that you might even be embarrassed about, that's when people connect with you and relate. And that's when, they're like, oh, she's so awesome. She could like, I feel so comfortable around her already. And I love her photos or their photos. Like, I want to book them for our wedding or session or whatever. And of course it's not all that, it doesn't all come down to just that, but ever since I made that switch in my business to just showing up fearlessly, authentically, not giving an f, literally just being like, I'm just going to do me and whoever wants to hang out with me can hang out with me, that's when I like doubled my income in 1 year. I became so much more happier. And I do teach this, my process of exactly how I figured this out. It's a 5-step process in my Crystal Clear marketing mini course. So I didn't even like plan on bringing this up today, but I'm like, but this is exactly like what I'm so passionate about teaching. It's like how to show up authentically in your business, market from that place, make business more fun. And then as a result, you get to actually book more clients and make marketing fun. So if you want to check that out, you can go to sarahmonica.com/crystal clear. And it's a really effective 5-part mini course that will build such a strong foundation in your marketing, in your messaging, and in you actually having fun with marketing your business. Okay. So to get back to the story. So let's get the story started. And I hope you enjoy. So like long time ago when I'm recording this, it's 2022 and I'm 32 years old in 2 days, actually. Woo, birthday vibes. So so about I think it was 12 years ago. I think it was when I was 20. I actually ended up getting a really crazy speeding ticket, which was you're gonna be like, what? How is that even possible? It was 78 over the speed limit. Now, if you're wondering, well, what was the speed limit and what were you driving? It was a 60 kilometers per hour speed limit, and I was driving 138 kilometers per hour. I was a freaking speed demon. And just to like ease your mind, this wasn't in like a public zone where it was like, in like a neighborhood where there's like possibly kids playing or like a school or by a mall or anything like that. Like it was a straight up country road, empty country road, straight country road. Like, so to me, it felt very safe. I know some of you might disagree, whatever. Like that's just who I am. I used to, especially when I was 20, I used to love driving fast like a speed demon. I definitely got that inspiration from Fast and the Furious, literally my favorite movies, except I mean Fast and the Furious 1, the classic. Also Paul Walker, seriously, rest in peace. Love that guy. Who's like my biggest crush ever, still is. Um, but yeah, I felt so sad that like as the movies progressed after Paul Walker passed away, they just changed them into these like action movies that were so like blah, unrealistic. And it totally like made me like not like Fast and Furious anymore. But Fast and Furious number one, If you're also a Fast and Furious fan, shoot me a DM on Instagram right now. I'll be like, Fast and Furious, I love it too. I'm obsessed. And if you like cars, let me know too, because I'm also obsessed with cars. So hence the reason why I was like driving like that. I grew up like a lot around like people who knew how to drive like really well, and had this like interest in cars and all of that. So I became a confident and like skilled driver, where when I was driving I was thinking of being really aware of like everything around me and like all the possibilities that could happen. So of course, it's never fully safe. There's always a risk to driving faster. But there's also people that are, I think, better at it than others. And I would say I was the one that was better at it. But either who, I digress. So, okay, I was going down this country road, and I got pulled over for going that fast. And by the way, this was my first time ever being pulled over after driving for 4 years like that, ever. I was feeling invincible. You know what it's like being young and invincible. And so he pulls me over, and I'm like, my friend is in the front seat with me. And I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. I don't care. I'm not nervous because this is my first ticket ever. I've never gotten a ticket. I'm clean. They'll probably just like let me go. And he comes to the window and he's like, license or registration. I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I'm not scared of you. And then he's like, do you know how fast you were going? I'm like, no, I don't. I wasn't paying attention. I was just enjoying my car and the speed of it, and being present. And he's like, well, you were going 78 over the speed limit. And I'm like, what? I'm like 78 over the speed limit. Oh, also just a pause because um I was driving mine and my mom's car. We were sharing a car at the time, but we had just gotten a new car. So the car before that was a Dodge Stratus. I think that's how you say it. And the acceleration on it was not as good as the new car. So the new car was, it was my Mazda 3. I loved it. It was like such a little sporty vibe. And so this new Mazda 3 had such a much more quicker, smoother acceleration than I had experienced in the previous car. So I honestly didn't know that I was going that fast. Basically, the cop caught me driving from like a red light, and I just like really like just I put the pedal to the metal. I put it down all the way, and I just accelerated really fast because I love that style of driving. And then yeah, so I basically went from 0 to 138 real quick, real fucking quick. And I didn't know. So basically when he said this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, sir. Like, it's a brand new car. And what's going through my head is that I recently learned that at that time, they had just created this new law here in Ontario, Canada, where if you were going 50 over this, like 50 or plus or above the speed limit, then they would take your car. Like, it would just this whole thing. They would impound your car. And that kind of like flashed through my mind. And I was like, oh crap. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize this is a new car, blah, blah, blah. It was this safe road. Like, everything is like flat surface. There's no other cars around. And he's like, sorry, no, I don't care. I've pulled too many people out of car accidents to care. And I'm like, oh crap. So he leaves, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, well, he'll probably knock it down to like 40 over or like 49 over just to like let me go. And he comes back and he's like, all right, so I need you to step out of the car. We're getting your car impounded right now. We're suspending your license for a week. Um, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, my parents are going to kill me because I'm still 20. I'm still living under their roof. It's half my mom's car. My mom needed it for work. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful. And I basically had to call a cab on the side of the road to go to my friend's house so I can just hang out there and de-stress before I had to go home, because I wanted to prolong the process before my parents found out. And so, yeah. So pretty much what happened was I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bringing back all of that, like those stressful emotions. What ended up happening was that actually happened. They took my car. I got my license suspended for a week. And then I actually had to hire, my parents were pissed. Oh my gosh. But luckily I was over 18, so they couldn't grab me. But um, I had to hire ex-coppers to get myself out of that ticket because it could have been a possible $10,000 fine. even like possible jail time, all this stuff. It was crazy. So I hired ex-coppers. They figured out a way to bring it way down to like 3 demerit points. I think it was like $2,000 fine, something like that. And then I had to pay also to get my car out of the impound lot. And so that happened. So that was like a big thing on my record. My record still, it literally still had stunt driving on it. That's what they called it, stunt driving. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that was cool because Fast and the Furious. Anyway, so I had that on my record, and pretty much where I was at was that if I had any other ticket after that, any other speeding ticket with my car, I would lose my like my insurance company wouldn't insure me, and I wouldn't be able to like drive for a whole year. So my parents are like, whatever you do, just don't get another ticket. Like, you have to drive the speed limit now because we can't just drive you around everywhere. And yeah, so make sure to stick to that. And so I did really good at that. I for years and years and years. And by the way, this stays on your record for like what, 6 years, right? So I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be a granny driver now, but yeah, I want to have my freedom and be able to drive. So okay. So pretty much what the cops did worked. It freaking worked, right? So I ended up driving really well for a bunch of years. I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 years, driving the speed limit. I think the most I ever did was 10 over, and I was just driving like a granny. And then one night, so when I was with my ex Mike, he used to live with my parents and I, and he used to work late at a restaurant. So he was like, and I would always drive to go pick him up at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. if I wasn't also out working, because I was also a server. So if I had the night off, then I would go drive and pick him up. And so it was like a late night. He kept saying, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So I was like, oh, screw it. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to wash my hair. I have to have my hair washed for the next day. And I always would drive in pajamas because whatever, it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like, I want to be comfy. So finally he's like, okay, you can leave now. So I have my wet hair. I'm in my pajamas. I'm driving. And for some reason, I don't know why, like, it was the empty roads, middle of the night. I also was just like so tired. I just wanted to get this shit over with. I wanted to get home afterwards. And I was just driving along, and then whoop, whoop, I hear sirens behind me. I see them in my rear view, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm like, I don't know what movie that's from, that expression. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Can someone DM me and let me know? I'm the worst with remembering movies, but yeah, that expression just came to my mind. And I'm like, oh crap, oh crap, I can't get another ticket. I can't get another ticket. I'm gonna be so screwed. I can't lose my freedom. Freedom is like my number one thing that means so much to me in my life. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull over. So I'm looking for a spot to pull over in, and I'm like already in problem solving mode. I am someone who really believes that, you know, if you ask the right questions and if you problem solve, if you really think that anything is possible and just like commit that you can make something happen, whatever you want happen. And that's just how something that I've had within me for a while. And so I was like already problem solving. I'm like, how can I get out of this ticket? How can I get out of this? I cannot get this ticket. And when I was also looking at my speedometer, as soon as I saw the lights, I looked at my speedometer, I was going 30 over. So it wasn't too bad, but 30 over is still bad. And especially when I had that stunt driving on my record. So I see ahead of me to the right a whole bunch of like bushes. And I'm like, oh my God, bushes. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I can fake diarrhea. I don't know why that came into my head so quickly. So I literally like pulled over right next to those bushes. And I'm thinking, I'm like sitting there. I'm like, okay, they're about to walk up to me. What can I say? What can I say? And I'm like looking at myself in the rear view mirror, and I see my wet hair, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in pajamas, wet hair. I'm like, oh, I can easily say I'm like sick and not feeling well, and that there's no bathroom to go to because it's 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm off to pick up my boyfriend from work. He doesn't have a ride. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. So they walk up to the window and he's like, license and registration. I'm like, yeah, sure. Sorry, sir. I'm not feeling well. Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, it's okay. Like, don't worry, I'll be back. And I'm like, no, sorry, sir. I know this is so embarrassing, but I have diarrhea. That's why I was speeding. There's no bathrooms open. And he's like, that's okay. I'll be really quick. And I'm like, that motherfucker. And he leaves to go back in his car. And I'm like, that means that he's going to give me a ticket. Like, for sure, for sure. And I literally can't afford any type of ticket. So I'm like, nope, I'm determined. I am not getting this ticket. Like, I am in control here. I'm going to make this happen. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm like, I have to make it really believable that I have diarrhea. So I decided to open up my door, run over to their car, and say, hey. And then I run up to the cop car on the opposite side to where the driver was sitting. And then I run up, and the passenger cop was so good looking. And I'm like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? He was so good looking. I'm like, oh, whatever. It's not time to be embarrassed right now. So I just like get to the side of the car, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm not like running away from the car or anything. I literally have diarrhea and I have to go right now. I have to go right now. So I'm just going to go in those bushes. Okay. And they're like totally like ghost faced looking at me like they don't know what to say. And I'm like, I'm just going in those bushes. And then I run into the bushes and I like even pull my pants down just to, in case they can even see a little bit through them. I'm like, this has to be believable. It has to be believable. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, this, I'm like, I don't care. I'll sit here for fucking 3-4 minutes just to make it really believable. And so I'm sitting there squatting. And then I hear a door shut, close. And then I kind of see through the bushes, them like walking towards my car. And then I see them walking back to the cop car. And then they drove off. They freaking drove off. And I'm like, what the heck? So I continue to squat there because I'm like, in case they're just driving off to see if I was faking it, I'm going to run. Like, I'm not running back out. So I waited there another minute to make it really convincing. And then I'm like, okay. And then I walked out pretending, even like holding my stomach in case they were spying on me somewhere. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't feel well. I'm like walking in like a weird way as if like I didn't have toilet paper to wipe myself. And then I go to my car and all I see is my license, um my insurance and all that. And I look through everything. I'm like, no ticket. There's no ticket. Oh my God, I did it. There's no ticket. And they're probably like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Like, let's just get out of here. Okay, we believe her. Let's just get out of here. And I got into my car and I drove to go pick up my ex with the speed limit. I'm like, I'm not taking that chance again. I drove the speed limit and I got out of it. And that is the end of my story. So yeah, faking diarrhea to get out of a ticket, it can work. It can really work. So I hope you enjoyed that story. And I hope you were entertained. I know, what's that movie? Damn it. Is it Gladiator? When he like is in the stadium and he's like, or Coliseum, and he's like, are you not entertained? I don't know why every time now that's stuck in my head. Whenever I want to do something like funny or entertaining for people, I always just want to ask that. Awesome. Well, if you found this funny, literally just DM me. It'll be fun to have a laugh together. Just tell me you're like, Sarah, oh my God, your diarrhea story, it's amazing. And thanks for the inspiration, just in case I have to get out of a ticket. And then imagine you just out of nowhere, all these cops just start getting all these like, I have to go diarrhea stories. And like everyone's like, what is going on here? Actually, one thing that I wonder about is like, do they like type that into the system? Like, pulled over, did not give ticket because she had diarrhea. Like, do they have that information as like a record that they look into? And then next time, if I fake it next time again, will they be like, oh, nope, it seems like you said that excuse last time, or are you okay? Like, do you need to go to the hospital? Like, so I wonder if they have that. So yeah, that's why I'm just, more careful nowadays. So, I guess tickets work. They work. Oh, yeah. And before I forget, I just wanted to remind you of that crystal clear marketing mini course that I mentioned in the beginning, because if you heard me say this story here like this and you're like, oh my gosh, like I love how she's just being so open and not caring about what anyone thinks, and like not even being embarrassed about just like doing what she did. This is how I am around my clients, and this is what they love about me, and this is what I'm able to connect with them on, because they're also so ridiculous and free spirited and like open to being themselves. And it just makes working so much more fun, makes shooting so much more fun. And I'm able to create my best work ever because I'm really able to, see them for who they are, accept them for who they are, and like document such, important and real ass moments and emotions that otherwise they wouldn't really unleash in front of me. If I didn't get vulnerable and open with who I am first, like why would I expect someone else to be like that in front of me, right? It's our responsibility as photographers to really show who we are and then facilitate that energy with our clients and all of that. So yeah, I highly recommend if you want to figure out really who you are at your core, how you can fuse that into your business, into your messaging, and start having fun marketing instead of taking it so freaking seriously, then I highly suggest that you do this five part video course. It comes with 5 videos and 5 homework assignments. So I'm literally holding your hand every step of the way. You're never wondering what I should do. And as soon as I implemented this into my business, what I teach in this, the 5-step process in this course, I doubled my income in one freaking year from $69,000 in revenue to $138,000 in revenue. And it's all because people just really connected with my personality, and I was polarizing. I was a yes, hell yes to some people and a hell no to others. But guess what? Being the hell yes is so much more fun and so much more valuable. And guess what? You can actually charge a premium price because they can't imagine working with anyone else but you. And trust me, you have unique qualities that as soon as you unleash them, there are people that are like dying to work with someone like you, and your people are out there waiting for you. So yeah, go to sarahmonica.com/crystal clear and sign up now. Sign up today. Get that strong foundation started in your business. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story, and yeah, have a great rest of your day. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.